Hogger may be finished, but I still want to show a deep dive into how I made each part. Today I want to show you how I made these sexy legs. In this video I'll show you how I attached and shaved the fur and explained how I patterned the pants. I recorded most of this footage months ago, so I'll hand you off to past me. Hello and welcome to my lair. It's time for another update on my Hogger cosplay. And as you can tell, I'm in a brand new space. So I'm going to give you a quick look around. Please forgive any messes. I'm still unpacking. So here's where my fur is. Sewing. Other stuff. This is a giant room. Big, huge windows. Stairs down. Look, it's the Gorin. And back to where we started. So there's a quick look around. I will do another lair tour probably after BlizzCon when I have time to set it up, everything just how I want it, and really feel out the space and rearrange it to what I like. Now, but today for the Hogger update, I need to catch you up on some of the progress I've made so far. I didn't have everything unpacked, but I still started working on it while I didn't have the cameras unpacked or ready to record or anything. So let's quick catch you up on everything I've done so far. Now, one of the first things that I did was take a foot, choose the best looking one, and cover everything that I wanted with fur in masking tape. And then I carefully cut it off and was able to lay it flat by cutting out some darts, which are some relief points like this. When you sew them together, it creates a curved part of the fabric. Anyways, so I cut them out, laid them on some leftover Christmas wrapping paper, and that's how now I have a flat piece that I can cut the fur out of. Now you'll notice I have some markings like identifying which toe it is and what way the fur direction is going. Now I also did that up, all the way up the foot up to here, and I have a part marked out here that says that's where I need some Velcro to hold the feet to the leg pattern. So now I have all these pieces, and that's how I got the pattern on the foot. Another thing that I did off camera was make the tail. Now you can see it here, all completed. I built this entire tail off camera, it seems, because it only showed up in some of my videos, but it has like an articulated armature underneath, so it's all flexible. And I wefted my own Kanekalon, which is basically raw wig hair, to make this long, flowy part. Then the last part that I did off screen was make the pattern for the legs. And I'll put a picture up right now of what it looked like while it was on the thing. I did a method called draping. I took an old sheet and draped it over the legs and used safety pins to pin all around until I captured the shape of what I needed on the legs. And then I marked it with arrows indicating the fur direction, wrote what part it was. This is the outside of the leg, this is the inside. I know the legs are pretty symmetrical and the feet are pretty symmetrical too, so I only decided to take a pattern from one half, and then I will double cut it out when it's done. So here's my pattern. I have some registration marks. I probably should do more of these, but I always forget. Little tick marks that line up with the other side of the pattern where you sew it together. I only had to fur up to a particular point on the legs because I know Hogger will be wearing shorts and have armor around his thighs, so I only went about halfway up his thigh. And So that is it for the pattern making. You're all caught up with where I am on Hogger. So let me show you a little bit about how I cut out the fur. Because I need to cut out 2 of these, I will be tracing it one like this and then another like this. If I just pattern both feet at a time, like this is the middle outer toe, like you see how the masking tape is on the outside, so that means the fur is on this side of this pattern that I took. So if I only needed that piece, I would need to make sure that I trace it like this so that the fur is on the correct side of the pattern. If you trace it and cut it out like this, you'll have backwards pieces because of all the because of the flipping. So to trace it on, I either like to use a Sharpie in some cases, but more often lately I've been using what's called a clover chalk dispenser, I think. It's a really neat little thing. It's filled with a whole bunch of chalk in the back. You can buy refillable pieces of chalk. It has a little gear on top that turns and deposits. So as you go around the pattern piece, you just roll it and it deposits the chalk. Like that. And since it's just chalk, it'll like easily just disappear when you work with it. But before you start tracing things, really be mindful of the fur direction that you have marked on the thing. And I like to take and mark on my fur which way the fur direction is laying. So all the fur is going down this way. And since we're working on the back exclusively so we can trace our pattern on, yeah, it's really important to keep track of what direction we're going. So I'm going to keep tracing this one around. And there you have it. So I'm going to just mark this mid out. And this is the first one that I'll trace, so I'll just declare the side with the tape up to be side 1. So just 1. And now when I trace it like this, I'll put MO and then 2 lines just to keep track of it. I don't like to do right and left because it boggles my mind. I can't remember which side I'm on, but I can remember that part 1 is up and part 2 is down. Now, I don't have much battery life left, but I'll show you. I like to cut out my fur using a scalpel. You can buy a scalpel with a whole bunch of blades like this for really cheap on Amazon. I will leave a link in the description below, an Amazon affiliate link. But the goal is that you just want to cut the backing of the fur. Now this blade is getting a little dull. Good thing I have a backup one. I didn't realize this blade was dull to start with. Should have been prepared. Now remember, this is a scalpel. The blades are extremely sharp. Please be careful. They are designed to cut flesh, so don't cut yourself. So you can see with a fresh one, yeah, see that cuts the fur really easy. And like I said, the goal is to just cut the backing. You don't want to cut the fur fibers at all. For safety, I like to keep just get a scrap piece of EVA foam and slide the scalpel in, and that's how I keep it. But there you go, it's all cut out. You know, I'll take it and I'll pile it up with this one so I can really double check double keep track of what piece it is. But that's all you have to do to cut it out. Now I don't have my GoPro up and running yet, so no time lapse yet. The next time you see me, I'll have all the pieces cut out and I'll show you how I sew them together. So off screen, I was able to cut out all the pieces, and before I sewed them together, I want to do a little pre-shaping. I know what areas of Hogger need to be shorter fur, like the toes and towards the bottom of the legs, but it was easier to shave the fur while it's flat. So that's what I'm doing here. If you do this for your own projects, make sure to err on the side of taking too little, because you can always take off more. But if you make a mistake and take off too much, you can only cut out a brand new piece of fur. I also like to keep my shop vac near me while I do this. Shaving fur is messy, and those little fibers get everywhere. Vacuuming things as you go really makes the experience better. Now it's time to sew all the pieces together. I love using Wonder Clips when sewing fur. They hold strong even though it's a thick bundle of materials. And it's nice to not have to worry about pins bending under the weight or stabbing you. I'll put a link in the description of where you can purchase these clips. While I'm sewing the fur, I like to make sure that all the fur fibers are tucked inside the seams. It makes your seams a lot cleaner on the inside and helps the fur lay more naturally on the outside. Now that everything is sewn together, it's time to put it back on the leg form. Sometimes there will be adjustments you have to make after the fact to help it sit just right. I purposefully left the bottom of the leg long and the front of the leg open just above the foot for the purpose so that I could cinch that in and fit it exactly. My favorite detail on these legs is still that tendon area. Then there are some additional shaving to do just to get the leg just right. I finished the feet off camera too, but it was the same process. I cut out the fur, pre-shaved it, sewed it together, fit it and glued it down just before doing a little more finishing shaving, and done. The next challenge with these legs was building the pants. I was very lucky to have my sister come out that day to help me develop the pattern for them. It took about 4 hours and about 4 times of building the pants to get them just right. We started out with the McCall's pajama pant pattern. We used the material from an old sheet, and I used the largest size of the pattern they had. And we cut it short because they only needed to be shorts. So then I sewed that together and simply cut some slits for the legs to go through. Here's what that looked like. As you can see, I cut the slit for my leg to go horizontally, which was a bad idea. It constricted the leg so it wasn't flexible, and there was a visual break in his shorts that was very distracting. Also, we needed more material up the back of the shorts for more coverage. So we built several more iterations of the shorts. We discovered that we couldn't get away with just a slit. We needed to make a hole. We also found that we needed to add a gusset because things were just too tight. We finally ended up with this version. You can see that I'm just as flexible as without them, and you can't even see the holes that my legs go through, and it's visually continuous and smooth. And it follows Hogger's leg instead of my own. And here's what the pattern kind of ended up looking like. You may have also noticed that I added a pillow to the crotch area to keep things from bunching up there. It may seem an odd thing at first to think to add a crotch pillow, but it really actually helped it look more natural. So here are the completed legs. You can see I sewed the final material on the pants out of this cool burnt orange color and made some leg wraps and added a whole bunch of weathering. Now the weathering is a really fun process and I could dedicate an entire video of that, and I plan to in the future. But here's how they look. The tail comes through a hole in the pants. There's enough room on top to tuck this under the belt. These Velcro were added later for some armor pieces. Next up, I'll be breaking down how I built Hogger's neck structure. Alongside the legs, I think that was the most challenging part of this build. So make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell so that you'll be notified the moment that I post my next update. I'm Kazul, reminding you to embrace your inner beast.